It's fantastic to be here and to be moving together. I'm so happy that you're here with me. I'm so happy to be here. And that being said, let's start on our backs. Have all your props nearby. Towards the end of class, we will do a double calf stretch. So you might want a rolled up towel that's a little bit longer or an extra rolled up mat. Something for under your head. Have your strap nearby, extra pillows or blocks. But once you come onto your back, take a moment. You can even just keep your knees bent. Take a couple breaths here. Check on the tilt of your pelvis. Does your waist flatten automatically? Untuck your tailbone. Tune into your breath. And then maybe if it feels good, stretch your legs long. Try to feel the tilt of your pelvis gently touches the back of the thighs closer to the floor or all the way down. Check in with your ribs. If they tend to lift up off the floor, soften them down. If it's not easy to relax them down, then maybe put something a little higher under your head or even a little extra bolster, a towel underneath your shoulder blades. And becoming present once again with your breath, the present of your breath. Feeling your body, noticing anywhere that you're holding on to some excessive tension, and if you can, mentally let it go a little bit. And just, even before we start, taking a moment to appreciate your body from your toes to your knees to your hips to your fingers to your elbows to your shoulders. Whether our body does or doesn't do what we ask it to do today, we want to respect our bodies. I read something wonderful in the last few days, and it said that this practice of human biomechanics is not about depth, it's about function. And that's really what we're trying to do in these classes. We're trying to make our bodies more functional for longevity, which is very much not the same thing as just going as far as we can. So from here, let's draw one knee at a time. And remember, let's make it more about function. So for today, we won't tuck our pelvis under. We'll keep the front of our pelvis flat so our pubic bone doesn't lift up as we draw our knee in. And then that's your first goal. And then over time, as you do this, and you do this regularly, and you find that you're sitting up tall more often throughout the day when you're sitting in a chair or sitting in the floor, then you can start to play with different rotations of your pelvis as you hug your knees in. But we want to make sure this function is really working well. All right, next time your right knee comes in, stay, and let's point and flex your ankle. Try to move more at the ankle, less at the toes. So notice if you notice the front of your foot moving forward and back, try to relax your toes and just move from the ankle. And then let's switch legs. Extend your right leg long, bring your left knee in, and point and flex. All right, keep your right knee in and actually or left knee and put it down on the floor. Bend your left knee, feel your tailbone tilting down, and now we'll do two knees at a time and we'll just tap our feet to the floor. And you're trying to bring your thighs in a little bit closer, but without your waist flattening onto the ground. All right, next time your knees come in without lifting your buttocks up, so tilt your tailbone back down. Just try to bring your thighs in a little closer. If there's no way your hands reach, you can always wrap a strap around your legs. But from here, let's try to spread all of our toes. And then how about trying to point your big toe forward and pull your little toes back towards you? And then switch little toes forward, big toes back towards you. And if it helps, you could lift your feet up a little bit to look. But if you've got the motion, go back and forth between the two. And if you don't have the motion yet, then you're just working on that. The only way to get better is to focus on it. Believe me, I know, because at one point my toes, when I first started this years ago, barely moved at all. So trust me, your toes can definitely start moving over time. Couple more toe moves. So important for our feet, for our knees, for our hips. All right, put your feet down on the floor, and then with your feet hip distance apart, you're going to keep your feet down and just roll to one side of your feet, and then roll over to the other side of your feet. So kind of like a spinal twist, but a dynamic spinal roll or twist, but without the feet coming up off the floor. Letting your breath flow. All right, we are going to come into a bridge pose and we're going to stay. So instead of going up and down, try to feel or look that the outer edges of your feet are straight, your ankles hip distance apart, your knees hip distance apart, and then you may or may not want something underneath your head as you push into your feet and lift your hips up off the ground. Try to feel the entire sole of the foot pressing down. Notice if anything clenches. Are certain buttocks muscles clenching? Are certain inner thigh muscles clenching? See if you can manually or mentally relax them. But muscles are going to engage, but no particular strong clenching in any one area because we want them to engage more evenly, and clenching prevents that. And sometimes you have an area that you notice clenches and you have to just keep going into it with your mind and trying to figure out how you can let it relax a tiny little bit more. Like for me, it's one of my inner thighs, keeps tightening up. And I know it comes from my pattern of sitting with my legs close together and driving. And so I'm always working on trying to teach that area to relax. And when I do, I start to feel more of the other muscles start to have to work. Take a couple more breaths here, pressing into the soles of the feet. Let the heels take the weight. If you want to lift your hips a little bit higher, you can. Breathing. Always come down if you need to. Are you clenching your buttocks muscles? Let go. All right, and then let your hips come down. If you'd like to, bring that prop back under your head, especially if you tend to thrust your ribs. This time we're going to lift our feet up into the air. You can work hip distance, or you can bring your legs together, or you can put a block between your knees, which is sometimes nice. I'm going to go for that option. And then you're going to roll over onto your right hip and slowly come back and roll over to your left hip and slowly come back. A lot of the work in the waist is when you slowly come back. And just take your time, side to side. Always rest when you need to. Couple more each side. All right, come back to center, put that block, or take that block out if you have it. Scoot your hips a big hop over to the left, maybe 2 hops. Because when you roll your knees all the way to the right, and same thing, you can put a prop between your legs if you'd like to. You want them to come all the way down. You're not trying to keep your chest rolled behind you, but you also are trying to line up your buttocks with your armpit about. So if your hips are way in front of your armpit, then you'd want to scoot your hips a little bit farther over to the left. Bring your arms in front of you, palms face down, and then or palms together in front of you, and then lift your top arm into the air and turn your waist open only so much that neither of your knees or feet subtly lift up. So that's your boundary. And then bring your hand back to tap your other hand. And as you open and close, you can change the angle slightly, sometimes a little bit lower chest level, sometimes a little bit more mid-chest level. And then sometimes you can go up and open your arm more shoulder height or a little bit above the chest. And you can vary between those, or you can choose one that just feels good. And breathing, enjoying your breath. A couple more of these. All right, from there, lift up your top leg to unroll your spine, scoot your hips back to center, and then take a big hop, or maybe even 2, over to the right. Roll your knees over to the left, maybe stack a towel or a pillow between your thighs. Bring your arms in front of you with your palms stacked, and then your top arm rolls open, but your legs are your anchor. And you can slightly change the angle of the arm as it opens. Check in with your ribs. When you open your arm behind you, do they really push forward? Soften the ribs back. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but remember that we want to spend more of our time stretching our chest muscles straight out to the sides than stretching them behind us. So if you can easily get your hand to the floor, that's okay, but that's more pulling your chest muscles kind of back. So that's not necessarily where you want to work more often. You want to think more often of, where do I get the most width straight across my chest at these different angles. And a lot of times it's not going into that deep range of motion. Remember, function over depth. All right, one more like that. And then from there, lift up your top leg, roll back onto your back, bring your hips back to center, and then we're going to put this block between our knees, and you don't necessarily have to have a block. You could do a towel or a pillow and walk your feet away from each other, but only so far that you can keep whatever it is between your thighs. Now, this in itself is just a nice stretch, and if you're in relax mode today, stick with this one, and you'll feel great, and you can just lay here and let your inner thighs roll in. But if you want a little bit more strengthening work for the core, you're going to keep your lower legs separated as you lift and lower your legs. So lift and lower, only lifting so high that you don't feel your tailbone lift all the way up. Lift and tap down, and lift and tap down. How about this time you lift and hold, legs 90 degrees, bring them in and split them open. Bring them in, split them open. In and open, and do that a few more times. All right, next time your legs split open a little bit, slowly lower your heels down to the ground. We haven't done that one for a while. I'll bring it back more. Take the block out from underneath you, from your legs, and then now you're gonna put it underneath you. You can work the lowest height if you have a bolster or a pillow or a towel. You can even stack it a little higher like that, or you could flip it to the second highest height, but only if it's really comfortable. And you're working with your pelvis at this angle where the pubic bone is lifting up towards you. Instead of sitting down on the block, you're letting your waist drop down and your pubic bone is coming up towards you. And then from here, you're going to extend your right leg long. So right away, when you extend your leg long, you might notice, oh, this is too high. And then rebend your knee if that's the case, change the height of whatever your hips are lifted up on, and then re-extend your leg straight in line with your hip. From here, interlace your fingers, right pinky finger on the back, flip your hands inside out towards the ceiling, get that nice even interlace, spread your thumbs out away from each other, press up through the palms of the hands. I think it's amazing sometimes how we do these stretches in all of the classes and they still feel so great, but it talks to us about what we're doing in modern culture, like time spent on our computers and scrolling on our cell phones. Okay, release that hand stretch. Now take that long leg in a little bit towards your left foot, so scoot it over. And it just slightly changes the stretch on the front of that thigh. Front ribs are dropping down. There should be no discomfort around the hips or the lower back, so change the height if that's happening at all. And then with your hands in the air, turn your palms to face behind you, tap your pinky fingers together, and then bring your thumbs to the floor. And trying to let that leg that's straightening relax as much as you can. You might want to hold on tension and bend the knee slightly. Try to let it relax. And this is definitely one of those ones that you could spend more time on. So, if you're watching TV or if you can get yourself into a position, you can come here and spend a few minutes or more in each angle. Okay, next time your hands are in the air, how about scooting your foot back to center and then out to the right a little bit? And then you open your arms up, your thumbs are pointing down, hovering over the floor, and just sweep your arms up and down by your sides. A little bit goes a long way. Rotate through the arm bones, so it's almost like your elbows are turning up towards the ceiling. And if you're not sure about the rotation of your arms, just start with your pinky fingers touching your thumbs out to the side and they open straight out and they don't change from there. And as you go up and down, the rotation of your arms might want to change. Can you keep the rotation in this position and only move the range of motion that this position allows, which at first is often just a few inches up and down or less. And if this is bothersome at all, go back to palms flat. Do palms flat towards the ceiling. Watch your left leg. Is it pulling out to the left? I just noticed mine was. All right, from there, give your arms a relax for a moment and then bend your right knee, extend your left leg. Feel free to adjust so that everything feels comfortable. Interlace your left pinky finger on the bottom, press away. Nice even interlace, press through the palms of the hands, the fingertips, the thumbs spread out, the thumbs straighten. Really feel the palms of your hands. Scan each finger, scan each thumb, the padding of the thumbs, how it connects into the forearms. And then release and slide your left foot over towards your right leg. Try to let that thigh relax and straighten. Bring your arms back in the air, pinky fingers touch, thumbs to the floor. Ribs relaxing down. And we're not working on any specific rotation of your thigh bone. So you can just kind of let it rotate wherever it rotates, but that's another thing you could work on if you're going to spend some more time here, is you could slightly change the rotation of your thigh bone. All right, pause your hands, walk your leg back to center, out to the left a little bit, and then from there, open your arms up, hovering either thumbs down or back of the hands towards the floor, and reach out through your upper arms, through your chest, and through your upper back. Feel your upper back getting wider as you go up and down. And I got a little cracking on one side, so I'm just going to do a little bit less range of motion. There's still plenty of work to do, even if you're working in smaller ranges of motion. Relax around your thigh, your hip. All right, and then bring that foot in with your knees bent. Lift your hips up nice and slowly. Slide whatever is out from under there. And then from here, we're going to go ahead and roll over onto one side. So roll onto the side of your body, and you're going to come onto the side of your body with your hips down, your knees bent a little in front of you, your elbow underneath your shoulder, and we're going to come back to this position. So we just want to start here. Are my hips about in line with my elbow? Are you sinking into your shoulder? Push down, kind of like a rhomboid push-up. Lift up through your armpit a little bit. And then let's take our top arm up and over and into the air. Over and into the air. Over, into the air, over, and into the air. Now turn that palm to face forward. Curl underneath your waist and open. Curl and open. Curl and open and curl and open. And then from there, bring your hand in front of you to press yourself down. Spin your legs around to the other side. So then you're on your hip, you're on your forearm, elbow right under your shoulders. Knees can be back a little bit so they're in line with your hip, or you can bring them forward a little bit for balance purposes. Reach your top arm into the air and go over and up into the air. Try not to sink into that shoulder. Lift your waist up a little bit. Over and up and over and up and over and up. Now turn the palm face forward, curl under and open, curl under and open. Two more like that. And then bring your hand down in front of you to press yourself up and come on up onto all fours. And we'll just start with our regular rhomboid push-up. So our thumbs spread out towards each other, our hands a little bit wider than our knees. When our knees are hip distance, activate your feet, whether you're on the tops of your feet or your toes are tucked under. Belly relaxed, tailbone in the air, up and down with your thoracic spine, with your rib cage. Wrapping your elbow pits forward. If you've been working on these for a while, your arms stay straight the whole time. Watch if you have the tendency for your elbows to push forward. Back your elbows up a little bit so they're over your wrist. And then really feel the work on the way up. Feel the armpits lifting. Feel the shoulder blades spreading wide. Maybe even pause on the upward rhomboid push-up every once in a while, because that's really where we need the work. Not that the sinking down with gravity isn't a nice stretch, but we need that lift that comes in handy when we're doing even more load-bearing work on our arms. Press equally through the palms of the hands. Space the fingers a little bit more evenly. All right, and then come on up to your knees. We're going to stretch one finger at a time, hand in front, shoulder, elbow, wrist in line. Pull down on your pinky finger. Each finger, we're going to hinge back at our knee joint. You're not sitting back. The front of your pelvis stays flat as you hinge back. And your body will tell you where to stop, and then go over to your ring finger. Ribs stay relaxed down as you hinge back and slowly come up. It might be very small at first. When I did this, it was shockingly small at first. I was so surprised that my body didn't want to go back further, so that's okay. Let it be small. Hinge back and come forward. Pointer finger pulls down. Hinge back. Of course, listen to your knees as well. And come forward. Thumb pulls out to the side and down, and hinge back. And come forward. Let's do the other hand. Shoulder, elbow, wrist in line. Check your knees are hip distance apart. Your feet are as wide as your knees. Pinky finger pulls back. Hinge back. Come up nice and slow. Ring finger pulls down. Hinge back. And come up. Middle finger. Hinge back. And come up. And pointer finger, hinge back and come up. And now the thumb out to the side and down, hinge back and come up. All right, lean to your left a little bit. Step your right foot forward into a lunge, maybe a little bit in front of your ankle, or ankle a little bit in front of your knee if you tend to move forward with the pelvis, but try to keep that neutral vertical pelvis. Take your left arm low, just so it could clear your right knee, and then you're going to reach your arm across and open it up to the side. Nice and low. Reach across and open. Reach across and open. Reach across and open. Palm stays up the whole time. Now lift the arm higher. Reach across and open. Across. Open, two more like that. And let's switch legs. Left hand comes down, right foot steps back, left foot steps forward, feet hip distance apart. Pubic bone leads the way if you tend to go in. Right hand starts a little bit above the left knee. Reach across and open. Three more like that, low. Okay, next time the arm is out to the side, a little bit higher. It's not so much of a waist turn. Your waist isn't turning very much, maybe a little bit. It's more just the arm reaching across. Let's do one more like that. And then tuck your back toes, front ankle under your front knee. At first you can lean forward, use your hands. Over time, less hands as you push yourself up and step up. Grab whatever you're going to use for a calf stretch. It can be a half dome, foam roller, a thin block, a rolled up towel. Put the ball of your right foot up, the heel down, outer edges of feet straight. Maybe you step that outside foot forward. Check, do you have this habit of thrusting your pelvis forward? Back your thigh bones up a little bit. Pelvis stays vertical. You're going to start with your palms and elbow pits forward. And you're going to lift your arms up, palms face behind you. Take them out to the sides. They're still kind of rotating behind you. Keep on going down and then pull them straight back, all without much motion of the ribs. If anything, exaggerate the ribs down and back. Lift the arms up into the air. Lead with the thumbs as you go down by your sides. And then pull straight back, elbow pits and palms forward. And arms rise. Lead with the thumbs as you open down to the sides. Pull straight back. One more like this. Arms rise. Lead with the thumbs as you go down. And pull straight back. How about holding back as we switch feet? Ball of the left foot up, heel down. outer edges of feet straight. Maybe that outside foot steps forward a little bit, and arms rise up, thumbs stick out to the side, thumbs point down as you open your arms to your sides, pull back, and sweep up without the ribs lifting up at all. Thumbs lead the way as you open your arms down to your sides and pull back. Check in with your feet. Do you want to step your outside foot forward or adjust your feet straight hip distance apart? Arms sweep up, out to the sides, and palms and elbow pits forward, pull back. One more like this. All right, and then step off that calf stretch, feet straight, ankles hip distance apart. Let's use a cushion today. So we don't always use a cushion, but it's nice sometimes, and sometimes people don't use a cushion because they're so used to not using a cushion, but then they put their foot up on a cushion and it allows their foot muscles to relax more. Mine is a rolled up towel. Feet straight, ankles hip distance, push down through your left hip, top of the foot stretch on whatever prop, and you might have to take a moment to adjust yourself. And then just let your foot rest on whatever it's on, and maybe as you work on the balancing of your balancing leg, not letting the thigh go forward, not letting the hip go out to the side, pushing down through the outer hip, maybe even rotating your thigh bone into neutral, you're relaxing that foot on the mat. Maybe you can feel your toes spread out a little bit, or on your prop, whatever you have it lifted up on. And eventually you'll not only feel this in the top of the foot, but it will travel up the leg. You'll start to feel tension release higher up, and you'll see how connected the feet are to the hips. The more you work on your feet, the more you'll see how connected the two are. All right, let's switch. So scoot yourself over, probably about the same distance. Feet straight, ankles hip distance. Push down through that right hip. Tuck the top of the left foot back. Check on all your alignments. Does your hips tend to go forward? Mine still does. Back it up. Does your hip go out to the side? Mine used to a lot. It doesn't so much anymore. And then maybe rotating your thigh bone into neutral. And remember, making sure you can lift your kneecap up and down. Because if you keep rotating your thigh bone into neutral, one, and your foot is not really straight, or two, you can't pretty easily lift your kneecap up and down, you're actually pulling on things that you don't want to pull on all the time. So that's why step by step is so important. We don't want to rush ahead. We want to take care of our bodies. We don't want to cause an issue. We're trying to cause less issues in our bodies. And even if you're doing these things that I'm like telling you, this is going to help create balance around your joints. If you're doing it with your foot crooked or with different muscles, then it might not create balance around your joint. It might create deeper imbalance around your joint. So piece by piece, be patient, but make sure you've got all the pieces before. Check in with that foot. Does the ankle roll out to the side? Can you come more centered? And then release that top of the foot stretch. Okay, we're gonna work on a little activity. Listen to your joints, your ankles, your knees, your hips. Feet straight, ankles hip distance or a little bit wider. As you sit back into a chair pose, I want you to keep your ankles centered, so not letting your ankles roll out, but I want you to try to open your thighs as wide as you can without your inner ankles lifting up. So you're creating your own resistance here. Thighs are opening, but center of the heels are pushing down from the top of the mat. And you might want to grab your strap because we're going to use it eventually, so you can put it around your neck. And we'll start. Feet straight, ankles hip distance apart. Sit back. I'm going to pick my strap up later because I don't want it to swing in front of my mic. Sit back, think centered ankles, but thighs opening. Press up. Sit back, centered ankle, but thighs opening. Let's do that 2 more times. It's almost like you feel your hips and buttocks muscles stretching out to the sides. Okay, pick up your strap next time you're down there. And then from here, come all the way up. And you can just hold your strap in your hand for now, or if you have it around your shoulders, that works.
Push down through your outer left hip, hug it in. Your right ankle floats up. Lift it out to the side, lower down. Feet down, feet straight, ankles hip distance apart. Push your outer opposite hip down to the ground. Your right foot lifts up. Lift it out to the side, lower down. Feet straight, ankles hip distance. Push down, weight back in the heel. Open the leg out to the side. Place it down. Push down, back your hips up over your heels. Ankle flexes, lift the leg out to the side. Lower down. Weight back in your heels, relax the front of your thighs, maybe rotate your thigh bones into neutral, lift your arms into the air, pull your hands away from each other. Sorry if my hands are cut off here, it's hard for me to tell with this view of the camera, but your hands are just taut, you're pulling your strap away as your arms go in the air, side bend over to the right, and side bend over to the left. Pull the strap taut. Side bend over to the right, ribs relaxing down, thigh bones back. Side bend over to the left. Then come back to center, bring that strap behind your back. Now palms face forward, thumbs out to the side. Maybe turning your thigh bones into neutral before you even rotate your pelvis into a half forward fold. And then with a little bend in your elbows, lift up, tip down, drop down, ribs up, lift up, tap down, lift up, tap down, lift up, tap down, and then sit back into a chair pose. You can put your strap down, bring your hands to the floor, keep your right foot forward, step your left leg back, and then from there, bring that knee down to the floor, bring your torso up, pubic bone forward, back of the hands come together, any amount. Try to touch the thumbs. Notice if the fingers tilt to one side, try to bring them center, and then a little side to side shift here. Tuning into your breath. Feeling your body. All right, bring your hands down inside your right foot, tuck your back toes, lift your knee, walk halfway around to the left. Parallel your feet, walk, push your weight back into your heels, push down through the backs of the legs, and then open your arms out to the side, palms up. Sit back into a wide squat. Same thing, center your ankles, but open your thighs. Press up. We're gonna do 3 steps in, so make them small. Step your right foot in just a little bit. Sit back, inner thighs open, press up. Step your foot in just a little bit. Sit back, inner thighs open, press up. Step in just a little bit. Sit back, inner thighs open, and then from there, press up and push down through that foot and step your foot all the way back out wide. Rotate from the pelvis, hinge forward, and walk back around to your right foot at the front of the mat. Lower your back knee down, slide your right knee back to meet your left knee. So instead of traditional rhomboid push-up with our hands right underneath our shoulders or behind our chest, shoulder distance apart, walk your hands a little bit wider. Elbow pits rat forward, belly relaxed, tailbone in the air. Rhomboid push-ups up and down with hands a little bit wider. Still get that full up motion. Remember, you can always walk your hands back a little bit more to work more of your lower shoulder muscles. And that's eventually something you want to start doing once your wrist and elbows feel comfortable and are used to the motion. Okay, bring your hands in so your thumbs touch each other. So now rhomboid push-ups with your hands closer than shoulder distance apart. Feet gently active. Up and down here. Feel the chest muscles lift up and spread wide as you spread your upper back. Okay, you're going to come down onto one hip in that same setup that we were at the beginning of class. Maybe slide your knees back. This time you can keep your hip down or lift your hip up. So if you're going to lift your hip up, slide your knees back a little bit more, elbows in line with the hips, hips lift up, and then from here, lift your top arm into the air and reach overhead and back up. Overhead and up. Keep lifting through the hips. Overhead, back up, overhead, back up. Turn your palm to face forward. Curl under, or your hips can be down. Open up. Curl under, open up. Curl under, open up. Curl under, open up. Lower the hips down, hand in front of you. Scoot around to the other side. Find an angle of your legs that works for you. So sometimes you can scoot your legs back. You can also keep your knees forward and just lift your hips. That might work a little bit better. So maybe hips stay down, maybe lift hips up, elbow right under the shoulder, top arm up, over and up, and over and up. Breathing. Over and up, and over and up. Turn the palm to face forward. Curl under and open. Curl under and open. Curl under and open. Curl under and open. And then bring that hand down. Come on back up onto all fours, hands and knees. So remember, function over depth. Can you keep your elbow pits rotating forward? Can you keep your ribs lift up? Can you keep your elbows from locking out as you reach your right arm forward? And then switch. Elbow pit wrapping forward without it pushing forward. Ribs up as you lift your opposite arm forward. Let's do each arm one more time. Keep the ribs up. Back of the head ramps up. Right arm. Check your alignment. Left arm. So this is where you'd want to be humble. If when you lift, your elbow pit cannot stay in neutral, it rolls back, you want to practice a lot more with less load bearing. Even if you've been practicing for decades, you still want to go back to doing less because it will train your body in a way that is much healthier for your nervous system. Your nervous system will appreciate it. Okay, elbow pits wrap forward, ribs up, back of the head ramps up, push down through your left leg, extend your right leg back. How much does that hip go out to the side? Can you pull it in and stack your hips? Tap your knee down. Top of the rhomboid push-up, both elbow pits. Hug your right hip in as you extend your left leg straight back. And tap down. Hug your left hip in as you extend your right leg. And eventually the hip will barely have to go up to the side, if at all. Top of the rhomboid push-up, elbow pits wrap. Hug your right hip in. Extend your left leg straight back. Lower that knee down. Step your right foot forward to the top of the mat. We're going to interlace our right pinky finger on the bottom. Press low. Your choice. Back knee stays down or hover it over the floor. Turn your arms to the right low. Bring them back. Bring your arms up high. Turn them over to the right. Bring them back. And then from there, you can release your hands, or everyone just step up to the top of the mat and then release your hands down. Okay, from the top of the mat, when we march in place, the tendency is for the thigh and the hips to go forward because we tend to be stronger in the front of our leg. So can we keep our hips back over our heels, push down through our outer hip, and still march without our hips going forward, keeping our buttocks back, keeping our thigh bone back? It's okay if your torso leans forward a little bit. It's not leaning forward as much as you think it is. If you looked at my shoulder, it's about in line with my ankle. My head still goes forward though, so I have to work on backing my head up. So push down through one leg, march it up. Every time check, are your feet straight? Are your ankles hip distance apart? And breathing. And at first, you might find that you have to go a little faster because you have to use a little momentum to stabilize yourself. Over time, try to go a little bit slower. Breathing. And really check those feet. They're the trickiest. They'll just scoot in slightly. Is the outer edge of the foot straight? As long as it's not bothersome from the joints, it might be harder at first to work with the foot really straight, but it'll give good benefits in the long run. And just side to side without tucking the pelvis under. How about taking your time lifting the leg up into the air? Taking your time putting it down. How about one more each side? All right, open your arms out to the side. You can still be at the top of your mat. Sit your hips back. And then from here, we're gonna twist our belly and just bring your left hand inside your left knee. Open up. You can work on what we were working on earlier with center heel, thighs open. Twist opposite hand inside opposite knee. Palms up. So not a lot of movement in the hips. When you twist, see my hips moving? Try to just move from the upper body. Feel the waist turn. One more, right hand inside right knee. And press up, and we start our second series. So, top of the mat, feet straight, ankles hip distance, center of the heels, thighs open up as you sit back, hold. Do your ribs tend to thrust forward? If you've got that nice curve to your lower back, lift your ribs up. Center your ankles. When your thighs open, does it pull your ankles open? Or do your thighs really just want to stay in? Open them, create resistance in your own thighs. And fold over your legs. Left foot stays forward, right foot steps back, lower the knee down, pubic bone leads the way, ribs relax down, back of the hands together. Try to touch the thumbs. Notice if the fingers veer to one side. Don't force. Stay higher if the hands don't come together, and maybe a little shift side to side, relaxing your shoulders. You can always pad your knees in lunges anytime we're on all fours. It's the good thing to do. You don't want to feel discomfort in your joints. Okay, from there, hands down inside the foot, tuck the back toes, lift the knee, walk halfway around to the right. Your feet are nice and wide. Back your weight up into your heels, press through the backs of the legs, open your arms wide, sit back into a wide squat. Press up, step your left foot in just a little bit. Sit back, inner thighs open, center the heels, shift the weight back even more. Step in a little bit, sit back, and press up. Step in a little more, sit back, and press up. Step that foot back out wide, feet straight, ankles hip distance apart. Rotate forward from the pelvis, fold down, walk back around to your foot at the left foot at the top of the mat. Put your back knee down, slide your front knee back to meet your back knee. Thumbs spread out, knees hip distance apart, elbow pits wrap forward, top of the rhomboid push-up. And now work on paying attention to your left arm, your rib cage. As you reach your right arm, hug your right hip in, extend the left leg back. Lower the hand, lower the knee. Wrap the elbow pits, top of the rhomboid push-up. Watch the right arm as the left arm goes forward. Hug the left hip in as the right leg reaches back. Breathing. Lower down, lower down. One more each side. Top of the rhomboid push-up, right arm, left leg. And lower your hand, lower your knee. Top of the rhomboid push-up, left arm, right leg. Breathing, trying to get a little bit more length through the leg, a little more lift through the rhomboid push-up, a little less lockout through the elbow if that's something you're concerned about. Maybe a little more ramp of the back of your head towards the ceiling. And lower the hand, lower the knee. Come onto the side of your body, elbow under the shoulder, knees can be slightly forward, or you can scoot them back so your knees are more in line with your hip. But actually, I think that for this one, it's okay for your knees to be more forward. So you can either stay here, and you can still do the leg work with your hip down, or lift your hips up, lift your arm into the air, extend your leg, tap and lift, tap and lift, tap and lift, tap and lift. And then from there, lower that foot down, lower your hip down, pull yourself up, scoot around to the other side, knees bent, hip and elbow in line, most important. And then from there, you're trying not to sink into your shoulder, the waist stays lifted. Maybe lift your hips up, top arm in the air, extend that top leg, and lift and tap. By the way, this comes straight from Tom Brady exercises. Lift and tap, lift and tap, and lift and tap. And then from there, hips come down, arms come down, pull yourself up, come back around onto all fours, starting with your arms shoulder distance apart, a little bit wider than your hips. Top of the rhomboid push-up, belly relaxed, tailbone in the air. We're going to do tricep push-ups where you bend your elbows and press up. But you're trying to keep some of that rhomboid push-up because otherwise when you bend your elbows, your chest will sink down. And we're trying not to do that. You're trying to keep the lift of your chest as you bend. The second thing is watch those elbows. They'll really want to pop out to the side, not only on the way down, but also on the way up. So keep them pointing straight back. And if your elbows are getting to the floor, that means you're starting with your hands way in front of your chest and shoulders. So walk your hands back a little bit. Your hips shouldn't go back. Your hips should stay stacked right over your knees. All right, let's do some tricep push-ups with our hands a little bit wider. Elbow pits wrap forward, top of the rhomboid push-up, hold. Elbows bend and hug in a little bit. Breathing. Press equally through the palms. All right, how about touching our thumbs together? They're spreading out towards each other. Elbow pits wrap forward, top of the rhomboid push-up, bending and pressing up. All right, bring your forearms down to the floor, hands together, your hips start right over your knees, and then you push your hips back any amount and lift your hands over your head. In your choice, if you'd like a little dynamic movement, go up and down. Otherwise, maybe just point your hands to the ceiling and stay for a few breaths. You can back your hips up as much as feels good for you. Try to relax your neck all the way. If your head will rest on the floor easily without discomfort, you can let it. Breathing here into the sides and the backs of your ribs. Take those full exhales. Good. Hands come down. Torso comes up, left foot steps forward, interlace left pinky finger on the bottom, press away low. Your choice, back knee stays down or hover it over the floor, knee bent, pubic bone forward, upper body turns to the left. Come back to center, arms go up, reach the hands over to the left, press through the fingers, spread through the thumbs, check in with that left knee, is it collapsing in? And then come back to center, hands on release or keep them together as you step up to the top of the mat and release your hands down. Okay, add a wall space, out a counter space, at a back of the chair,
Not going to work as easy because you want your hand on the wall. We're going to combine a few things, which is wonderful. Put your hand on the wall. You're going to do fingers pointing up. You're going to do fingers pointing forward. And you're going to do fingers pointing back. But all of them are going to be in line with your shoulder. I was just showing you, but they're going to be in line with your shoulder, so you're not going to be able to see my hand. So, fingers pointing forward. Hand in line with shoulder, low chest height, arms straight. Stack your ankles right under your knees and pigeon toe your feet a little bit. From there, try to keep your arms straight as you lift and lower your heels up off the ground. And try to keep going straight up rather than pitching forward so much, which you'll see is a little challenging. But try to go straight up and down, pressing equally through the balls of the feet, and keep pressing that hand gently into the wall. As you can see, the more straight up I try to go, the harder it is for my calf muscles to do the work. That's okay, that's why we're practicing. Now turn your fingers to point behind you. Turn your feet slightly out to the sides and go up and down here. And try to go more straight up than hinging forward. Sometimes it just looks like you're hinging forward because your head is forward. So back your head up without lifting your chest up. All right, turn your fingers to point straight up and down. Feet straight, arms straight. Lift and lower. Breathing. Press equally through the balls of the feet so the ankles are not spinning to one side. All right, turn around. Other arm. Fingers point forward. Feet pigeon-toed. Straight arm. Lift and lower. As straight up and down as you can. Press your hand into the wall for stability. And also to lengthen those chest and upper back muscles. All right, turn your hand to face behind you. Fingers point behind you. Keep the arm nice and straight. Turn the feet slightly out to the sides. A lot to pay attention to is the arms straight. Are your hips back? Are the ribs down? Are you pressing equally through the balls of your feet? What's your outside arm doing? So just piece by piece. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. All right, fingers point up, feet straight, and lift and lower. And then lower your hand down. Very good. All right, let's do some arm swings. Palms forward, elbow pits forward. Check, are your feet straight? Are your ankles hip distance apart? Hips back over your heels. Maybe rotating your thigh bones into neutral. How about lifting your arms up into the air and pushing down and marching, but without tucking your pelvis under, keeping the buttocks back. Take your time putting down your feet straight, ankles hip distance apart. It takes focus. Feel your muscles. Interesting that it's more challenging for me on my left side with my arm in the air. Just shows how all the body is connected. I'm not surprised by that. All right, and then fold over your legs. It's okay to bend your knees, or you can just keep on folding with straight legs as long as it feels okay. And then you're going to crawl yourself down. Have a seat on something. Anything to get your hips a little bit higher
so it's easier to rotate your pelvis into neutral. Spread your legs nice and wide, flex your ankles. Most of the motion comes from the pelvis. That's what gets into our hips. Push your inner arches away from you a little bit if they tend to curl back in towards you. And flex your ankles and hinge forward any amount here. Really relax your lower belly. All right, come up and then bring the soles of your feet together. And if we're done, if you have time, you can come back to any of these and spend a little bit more time. Soles of the feet together, rotate your pelvis upright, hinge forward any amount. All right, and then come up. How about with your hips up, if your body allows, curling one leg back behind you and extending your other leg straight. And one thing you can do is if you can get your hips higher if it helps. Of course, the prop will be a little bit to the side. You can take your leg out a little bit as long as there's no discomfort in the knee. And if this is just like no way, then just bring your foot forward and let your knee drop out to the side. Flex the ankle of your long leg. Sit up nice and tall here and take a side bend with your right arm up and over. Bring that hand down. Bring your hands behind you, maybe onto the floor where you bend your elbows and hug them in. Keep that front knee grounded to the floor, lining it up with your hip. Roll up off your fingertips to come up and then twist away from that right knee. And then unwind and rotate forward from the pelvis a little bit. All right, come up, switch legs. So one leg comes forward, the other leg to the side. Again, it can be a little bit wider. Listen to your knee. You might want to sit up on something higher. Otherwise, bring that knee right in line with that hip. And then from there, flexing your long leg ankle, take your left arm up and over. Pelvis keeps tilting upright. Ribs keep relaxing down and back. Pull yourself up. Maybe hands come behind you on the floor. Bend your elbows. If not, just sit up or walk your hands back a little bit, and you also don't have to bend your elbows. Check in with that thigh. Can you subtly move that bent knee thigh to feel more sensation on the front of your thigh? Not that you always have to go for more sensation, but if your leg is, depending on the angle of your leg, you're going to feel different sensations. So try to find really what works for you. And it's always good to check if you're not sure. And then roll up off your fingertips, sit up nice and tall, twist your belly to your right. Come back to center, flex your ankles, and hinge forward any amount here. And then slowly come up and stretch your back leg to meet your front leg. Fold forward for just a moment. And come on up and come onto your back for final pose, Savasana. So whatever you'd like underneath your head, lay yourself back, palms up, legs long. Let your gaze soften or your eyes gently close. Become very present with your body, with your breath.
Stay present with your body, with your breath. Either be still for the next 20 seconds and just continue to focus on your body and your breath. Or if you're ready, it was short but sweet, feel free to move or wiggle your body in any way that feels good for you. As you're ready, roll over to one side, pause, take a breath. With ease, press yourself up to any seated position. Bringing our hands together at heart center. So we haven't talked about this in a while, but Namaste. One meaning, one interpretation is that the best in me sees and honors the very best in you. And so at the end of class, we often say Namaste and we acknowledge seeing the best in others, but also remember to receive that acknowledgement for yourself as well, that others really can see the best in you too. In gratitude for this day, Namaste.